is Jasmine, and today I'll be talking about the teacher who inspired me to pass the torch. So, elementary school in particular was difficult for me due to some major transitions that occurred. My life, as I knew it, consisted mainly of my mother, my older sister, and my younger brother. Every weekday morning, my older sister would wait with me for the school bus, and this was our regular routine. Unfortunately, during my first year of elementary school, she passed away due to an asthma attack. She was my main role model, and it was hard for me to process that she could leave so suddenly. During her funeral, several members of the school attended, including my teachers as well as hers, and I didn't know much about her teachers aside from what she told me, but I was appreciative that they attended nevertheless. Adjusting back into the normalcy of school was really difficult for me because my sister was my main role model, and she was the reason why I did a lot of what I did. Eventually, I did get into some form of a routine, but my shyness did increase over time. Since the school was pretty small, word did get around about my sister, and it felt like I had this new label attached to me. Teachers and students, I noticed there was a shift in their treatment towards me, and I couldn't blame them. How do you talk to a child who's experiencing grief at such a young age? Things would change though once I started second grade. On my first day entering the classroom, I noticed this familiar tall blonde woman that I noticed at the funeral. She was my sister's second grade teacher in the past. In comparison to my shy and timid demeanor, she had a very bubbly and energetic personality. And even though I'm pretty sure she noticed that I was one of few words, that didn't stop her from treating me like the best kid in the world, as she did with all of my other classmates. It felt like I wasn't being treated with pity, but instead as if I was a regular student. Though this did mean that I couldn't get away with pulling the sympathy card, as alongside her chirpy personality was also her stern and authoritative side, which showed us when it was a time to play and when it was time for learning. It was with her sternness that she helped me realize that I was more capable than I initially believed. One of my least favorite subjects in school was reading because it was the one I struggled with most. Miss Smithy managed to make this activity more engaging, and that's saying something from someone who tried to avoid a book at all costs whenever they could in school. She had such a way with reading the stories and changing her voice and altering her vocals to make the story seem more engaging, and it helped us gain a better understanding of what the text was trying to say. And she also encouraged us to do the same when we read so that we could become more immersed in the text. One thing about Miss Smithy that stood out to me is that she never made me feel like she expected for me to act anything like my sister. She showed me that even after such a transition in my life, that I could still be accomplished for the things that I did on my own. She constantly reminded me of my potential, which helped me become more motivated to try and do things on my own. I remember after one reading activity, I finished early, so I decided to get a separate sheet of paper and draw the cover of the book we were reading. And as I was drawing, she walked past my desk and stopped and said, "Oh my gosh, Jasmine, did you draw that?" And I nodded in agreement, and she just beamed with excitement. She was like, "This is the best thing ever," which shocked me because I thought teachers only got excited whenever you performed well on an assignment. She encouraged me to do this with several other reading assignments that followed, as it could help me get a better grasp of what the text was talking about and better retain the material. She even informed me that she would put my drawing on the classroom door, which I thought was only reserved for students whose assignments got really high grades on it, but to know that I could be acknowledged for something outside of academics was very rewarding. It showed me that your success in school doesn't have to be just confined to a school assignment. You can be acknowledged for other things as well. Miss Smithy managed to take something that I didn't consider much and make it feel like a huge accomplishment for me. This encouraged me to try and do this more with reading activities and just to continue to try more things on my own to see what else I could be good at. I learned from Miss Smithy that support from a teacher doesn't have to be confined between academics and school walls. It can go beyond that. She was there to support me during my time of grievance, and she was there to help ignite my artistic passion that I didn't even know that I had. She was even there to support us when my second younger brother was born. This showed me that a teacher can become just as supportive as a family member, and I would like to have that similar impact on my future students. Life is full of transitions, which is what inspired me to teach during one of the biggest transitions of a student's life, which is middle school. I know I may not be able to be physically present for every big event like a funeral or a birth delivery, but I can still find ways to be present and supportive of my students beyond the content that I teach. I will remind my students that their individual success is not confined to a letter grade nor another family member. Similar to Ms. Smithy, I will make sure to take note of what students show me indirectly or directly that interests them and find ways to incorporate it into their learning journey. Thank you, Ms. Smithy, for inspiring me to help future students just as you helped me.